What are you going to talk about?
I don't know. We're just going to flow.
Oh my God, this is so weird. All right, if this is your idea, I don't know what the to talk about. All right, here we go. Welcome everybody to Born Broke with Mike Hoferth, and today we're going to talk about big picture thinking. Take it away, Mike.
Why am I taking it away? This is your topic.
No, it's not my topic.
Come on, bro.
Big picture thinking. What are we talking about?
I asked you right before we did this. What are we talking about?
Big picture thinking versus...
Big picture thinking. Here we go. Big picture thinking is you need to look outside the box, as you'll hear so often in your life, right? You can't... There's small thinking where you're thinking about tomorrow, in the moment. You're not thinking about 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road. You're not
long term.
Long term. You're not thinking about someday if you have a family. You know, you gotta start thinking subliminally about that stuff so you can gear your progression toward whatever your big picture thinking is, right?
Goals, big picture thinking, long term.
Absolutely.
Which keeps you disciplined, doesn't it?
Keeps you disciplined. We talked about some of it, you know, setting goals and that kind of stuff. But the importance of big picture thinking is when your brain, and I'm a firm believer of this, I don't know what the science behind it is or if there is science behind it, but this is how I operate, right? I constantly try to live in the moment, but think about the future, right? Where am I going? Where do I want to go? How do I think I need to get there? How do I really need to get there, right? And then in the moment, take steps and analyze what I'm doing hour by hour, day by day, and see if I'm actually moving toward wherever I'm trying to go, right?
Sure.
What did I do today? Did I waste the day because I went and goofed around, went to a party and went to a swimming event, and you know, these things are fun, but did it really get me that much closer to wherever I want to be when I'm 20 years later in life? You know, like I knew my big picture from early on. Let me start with that.
Yeah, what was it?
My big picture was this, and I said this many, many, many times. I wanted to work as hard as possible, as much as possible, when I was young, so I could cruise and chill when I got older, right? So I wanted to work and get myself into a place when I was younger to be able to cruise and chill and just live life when I got older, right? I didn't want to have to be grinding later in life. I didn't want to have to be stuck financially and feel strapped and feel like I had to go get that job at whatever institution. I'm going to use the hardware store as a thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't want to have to feel like I had to have those jobs to continue with my life in my later years. So I wanted to sacrifice early, thinking big picture, so I could cruise later. The reason for that was I thought at some point I'd want to have a family, right? Love kids, hope that I would meet somebody, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff has panned out for me, right? And now I'm starting to gear my mind differently to see if I've worked hard enough early on so I can kind of let off the gas now and spend time with my daughter, right? And see my daughter through her like growing years, through her grade school, through her junior high, through her high school, into college, into her career, be a mentor for her, right? Be a role model. I want to see how much I can let off the gas so I can actually be available in these years to help steer her or support her in whatever direction she chooses. So I knew from an early age that's what I was going to do. I said that to so many people that they go, why do you work all these hours? Why do you sacrifice? Why are you putting yourself through all this? You only get one life. Yes, I want to do that so I can pick and choose later in life. If I have a family, I can be at every t-ball game. I can be at every soccer game. I can be at every event. And I don't have to be bound to a job to make money just so we can survive, right? And miss all that life experience. And you know what? It worked for me. Why? Because I looked at big picture thinking. I had it in my mind from the beginning. I was striving for it the entire time. And now I'm later in life and it's going to pay off. It's starting to pay off. It worked. But if you don't plan for it, you're just going to go through life. And before you know it, you're going to blink. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to go, I got to do this weird job because I have to be able to survive because I never planned for anything. Right? I lived in the moment my whole life, but I never planned. Right? You have to have a plan. It's important to think big picture. It's important to do all these steps that we tell you so you can have a better life, or you can have an easier life, or, maybe you didn't grow up in the best situation financially, right? Don't let it hold you down. You can do it. You can get out of the situation, but you have to do it yourself. Take these steps. Take this as a roadmap. Big picture thinking is really important. And like I said, I don't know if there's science behind it, but I think if you gear your mind that way, even when you sleep, I like to think, your mind's subliminally thinking about it when you're not even cognitively thinking about it.
Of course.
And so it works. It works. So think big. Set those plans. Project out where you want to be in 10 years. Project out where you want to be in 30 years, depending on your age. It's never too late to start. If you're older, project for another 5 years. Project for another 10 years. It's never too late. Don't ever let anyone tell you it's too late, because it's never too late. And it's important to start, because until you start, you're never going to get there. So big picture thinking to me is really important. And I know it's not necessarily about finance, so to speak, but it definitely can be, right?
Of course.
Because like I said, my big picture thinking was going to allow me financially to cruise, right? And let off the gas and attend everything I wanted to attend so I didn't miss anything.
Well, you deserve it.
Because I sacrificed.
Right, but it's time to play a little bit.
That's right.
For you, I think.
Yeah, and I'm starting to. But again, that's another mindset, right? I've been geared in a mindset to work, grind, push, right? And now I'm having to pull that back, and it's an adjustment. It's hard. It's not easy to pull it back when you've been doing it for so long. Let's say, 40, 20.
Yeah. But
I've been doing it for 30 years.
But it's much better to do that because, as everyone does, as we age, your energy level starts to go down. That's why people work hard early in their life. If they're successful and they put their mind to what they're trying to accomplish, big picture thinking, they set their goals. Like what you said, is your goals are your present moment, your everyday tasks to get you to that big picture. Right. So you've done that, and now it is time for you to focus on the projects that you want to work on specifically, and spend time with your family, and versus people that maybe had more fun in their 20s and 30s, and even in college when we first met. I mean, again, if people didn't see one of the earlier episodes, is you purchased your own home while you were in college. Like, this is not something that you waited till after college and you got a real job and you were applying yourself and you put your head down and created, all of this wealth and all of this success. Like, you did it from, probably way before when I met you, and to be able to buy a home in college and to do all those things, like, you've been grinding and missed out on so many things that I've personally invited you to. Hey, let's go to the beach. Hey, let's go hang out, or hey, let's go to this party. And you always turn me down. I was like, what? And I didn't even know why. You're like, oh, dude, I can't. Or hey, I got this. I had no idea. And then when we got a little bit closer and we started living, in roommates in college, you're just always working. And so now this is like this perfect time in your life where you're starting a family and thinking about getting a dog too. Oh man.
I love dogs.
We all love dogs.
There love dogs. Everybody loves dogs, right? Everyone's a dog lover. Yeah. There are cat lovers too. I will admit, I'm not a cat lover. I do like animals. They're cat lovers. They're dog lovers. Who doesn't? It's all good.
Yeah. But you deserve it.
You're right. Look,
you deserve it.
But that's a testament to, even back then, what you're talking about, and you're stripping back. I had the same mentality. I knew I wanted to grind at that point. I wanted to grind and sacrifice because I wanted to live a certain way when I got older, right? That was my big picture thinking.
Well, you were one of those guys that had talent. Like, if we were to describe this in like in athletic terms, you're the very scary athlete that you don't want to come up against, because you had talent, but you were always going to out hustle the next guy. Then some guy that was way more talented than you that just cruises, that guy does not succeed. You had the combination of, hey, I'm talented and no one's going to outwork you. And I witnessed that, because I even saw like the way your face, you know, sometimes we would go to hang out late at night at your house and we're thinking about some project we were working on, some fun stuff. And you had this raccoon look because you just worked. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And you just always were tired and had these, but you had a lot of money in the bank. I will say that. And I'm like, I want to start having that raccoon look as well.
Look, it's a certain mindset, right? I don't recommend it for everybody. If it's for you, go for it. If it's not, it doesn't make it wrong. But
it was just you.
It was me. It was me.
Yeah.
It was me. It was the way I grew up. It was what I wanted in life. Mm-hmm. I always thought life would go fast, and it does. Because when you're younger, everyone says life's going to go fast, and a lot of people might write it off and go, yeah, whatever.
100%,
it really goes fast. I wouldn't have thought I'd be sitting here at 45 years old today. Mm-hmm. I don't feel a day over 20 until I look in the mirror, you know, and then I go, man, life has gone quick. Life does go fast, right? Yeah. You've used examples of, you know, that your colleagues and your friends and people will charge ahead, mm-hmm. and people will excel, and time doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. Time continues, and I don't want to sound like a curmudgeon, but time goes fast. Absolutely. It really does. Like, you know, I remember my 20s like it was yesterday, mm-hmm. and then my 30s flew by. Now I'm mid 40s on my way to 50. I mean, it goes so quick. I can't stress enough. Like, whatever age you are, start today. Make a commitment to yourself. You know, set goals, think big picture, strive every day, think about it, assess what you've done today to help you get to where you want to be tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's really the important thing. Mm-hmm. You're going to blink and you're going to understand what we're talking about right now. You're going to blink and you're going to wake up and 10 years are going to be gone by and you're going to wish you did. And the problem that, you know, we as humans have is we can't control time. We can't turn it back.
It's scarce.
You can't turn it back. You can't get more of it.
Yeah.
You have a finite amount of time in this life. Mm-hmm. And you have to maximize that for whatever that means to you. Mm-hmm. Maximize that time to the best of your ability, right? Make the most of it. Because every minute that goes by is a minute you're never going to get back. Mm-hmm. You know, and I can't stress that enough. So think big picture. Think long term. You know, think short term, think long term, but always be projecting where you want to go. So every day, every minute, your body and your mind and everything is working a little bit toward that, right? Mm-hmm. Mine was financial. That's why we're here on Born Broke, you know, asking you to subscribe, asking you to go back, rewatch some of the stuff you may have watched. Because there's things in each episode that you may have missed, right? There's a lot of nuggets and a lot of there's not only facts, but there's also stories and there's real life situations. There's so many things you can pluck out of there. And the first time you're not going to grasp it. You're going to get the overview, or you're going to braze the surface, but go rewatch them. Rewatch them multiple times. I just saw something, dude, last night. I saw something. I watched it 20 times. Mm-hmm. Not even exaggerating. 20 times I watched it because it was on the banking system and how the banking system works. Mm. And I wanted to understand exactly what they were talking about.
Are you going to share with us?
I'm not going to share.
Another episode?
It's another episode.
Okay, cool.
But I watched it 20 times to extract every ounce of everything that was in there. And I recommend you do the same. Go back, watch these videos, share these videos with friends, share them with family, watch them with other people. They might depict it or they might view it differently than you do, and then you guys can brainstorm together what you each got out of them, and then how you guys can better yourselves even more, you know? Strength in numbers. Yeah. Strength in numbers. You don't have to do it all alone, you know? Yeah. Get your closest friends, you know? Figure out what your mentor, who's your mentor. Talk about it. But big picture thinking is this episode. Don't fall short of it. Make it a priority. I don't have any more on big picture thinking, but I think it's important.
Yeah. And I think too, if you enjoy these episodes, just share it with a friend, you know, shoot them a text, share the video, and just say, hey, I really got value out of this. And I don't know, just, you know, support this channel, because eventually, like Mike said, is in a previous episode, is we're going to be sponsoring people. We're going to try to do it every month.
Yeah.
And we're going to figure something out where we can help you possibly get out of debt.
That's our big picture thinking.
That is our big picture.
Our big picture thinking with Born Broke Live, Born Broke with Mike Hoforth, Born Broke Live, is to sponsor people and get to a place where we can potentially sponsor people every month, right? Mm-hmm. And get to a place where we can tour. We can come to your town. We can talk to your school. We can talk to your corporate company. We can talk anything. I honestly, for me, big picture thinking with this, big picture thinking with this is, I want to be a financial coach. I want to do one-on-ones. I want to do Zoom calls with you. I want to help you. I want to answer your questions. I want to offer all these tools for you to succeed and better yourself. I'm going to learn from you. You're going to learn from me. I'm learning from George. We're going to learn from guests. I'm so excited. We've had a handful of guests. I've learned so much from these guests. It's just every guest. I get so excited when we have guests.
Absolutely. Everybody's got a different story, and Mike and I are constantly learning, you know, from all of our guests, just from our friends, and just from these conversations when we shoot these. I learn a ton about myself and about things that I'm going to apply in my life, and some things I'm patting myself on the back saying, hey, I'm doing some of the things that we're talking about.
I learned from the crew. I learned from our crew.
Yes.
You can learn every day as long as you listen. As long as you listen and you allow the information in, you're going to learn. But again, this episode, big picture thinking, importance of it. Start it today. Don't forget it. What do you think?
I had one. Can I add one more thing?
Oh, one more thing, guys, coming out.
No, because I try to listen the whole time.
Okay, yeah, no, I like it. Let's go.
No. So when you're talking about big picture thinking, I know I've struggled in my life after my athletic career, because big picture was my athletic career.
How so?
And then that's all I dreamed about. That was my.
So you thought that's where you would just continue to be an athlete?
Well, I thought I was going to be 80 years old and still be a professional athlete,
That's
like a total moron. But that's when you're an athlete and you want to get to a high level, there's no plan B. So when plan A does run out and it becomes a train wreck, you have to recover. And then it became difficult for me to find that, you know, big picture, or let's say, what is your next passion?
Plan B.
Plan B, essentially your new plan. I like to call it my new plan A type of thing.
Okay.
Because once I knew, hey, like, what is it? And I might get emotional, but when you invited me on the set here, and I was just going to be the one kind of working the cameras in the background and you're like, hey, sit right here. I'm like, what are we doing? And you're like, put the headphones on. And so I'm like, what are we doing? I had no idea that you wanted me to be part of this show. And how many years have we been talking about wanting to do this? Like, this is my passion. Like, this is what I want to be doing. This is my big picture thinking.
Awesome.
And I love money, and I love finance, and I love all these things, and I love to learn. And mainly, I like to promote my friends. Like, that's something I've always been really good at.
Supportive.
Is just edifying you, edifying all my other friends that I don't like talking about myself. I'd rather talk about somebody else. And in this role that I'm in with you, I feel like if we can build this thing to something that's really impactful, and we can sponsor people and help them, that's my big picture. And I'm stoked to be part of this.
I love it. I love it.
So anyway,
that was a really inspirational conversation. That was deep.
This is my new passion.
I would watch that 20 times because the first time I wouldn't get it all, but by the 20th time I would absorb everything you just said. Yeah. But what you don't know, and what we've told people, is you have to find friends that push you.
Yeah.
He didn't want to sit in that chair. I didn't know this was his passion. We just found out today this was his passion. But he didn't want to sit in that chair. He fought me. Just so you know, he fought me to sit in that. He didn't want to sit there. He wanted to be back in the control room, pushing buttons. But what we found is he's blossomed as a co-host, and he's been a really great co-host, and he's going to continue to be a great co-host.
Cool.
And here we are. Big picture. We
That's
started this episode. Do you realize we started this episode with you not fully understanding knowing what we were going to talk about, big picture wise? And what you just did is you just put icing on the cake of what big picture really means.
Yeah. Because I don't think if you don't have a passion in your like, what is the big picture, right? You're just, hey, I want to sock away 20 grand, or I want to do that. But at the end of the day, if you can make money, right? If your occupation is your passion, and you're going to hear this everywhere, you're going to hear this from all the self-help gurus, and, oh, I'm miserable because I hate my career. Yeah, you're probably right. But if you can find something that you love, you can excel and be the best version of yourself, essentially.
That's the most important thing you can be, the best version of yourself. And I think, George, what you touched on there was really big. I think there are a lot of athletes out there. I was one. And it wasn't until I didn't play college sports myself that I needed to start instilling big picture thinking of what you like to call another plan A, right? But it is kind of a plan B. But when I was growing up, I thought I was going to become a pro basketball player. I really did. All my effort was going into that. Everything I had was I lived and breathed it. And then when I didn't play in college, what I had known for 18 years had stopped, and I needed to shift gears. Yeah. And that's where this concept was initially born, which I didn't realize. Because through college, when I shifted gears, the important thing to me was to talk to entrepreneurs and successful people more so than college curriculum. Because inadvertently,
you weren't a great student.
I wasn't a great student.
And I wasn't either. I worked my ass off to get through.
Yeah, but what I realized, and now looking back, is that all those entrepreneurs that gave me time and spoke to me about their career and spoke to me about their life experience and spoke to me about their journey gave me such valuable information and inspired me to figure out what a mentor was. Oh, yeah. To figure out what Born Broke Live 25, 30 years later would be. Yeah. And that's what we're here today. Yeah. So it's interesting as we learn from each other and talk about these stories, how my journey weaves together and how it all kind of has brought us to this point. Yeah. Right? So
no, I think that's like, I'm sorry, go ahead. Finish.
No, I don't have anything. I'm kind of reminiscing in my own head right now. I'm sorry. I'm kind of, you said you were going to get emotional. I'm kind of getting emotional. At the end of the day, I'm just kind of reliving why we're here and how we got here and how my early 20s actually inspired and kind of created the show inadvertently.
No, it did.
And I didn't even know. I was able to date somebody whose dad was a unbelievable entrepreneur, super successful, built from the ground up, right? She was born and they lived in a 1-room apartment, from what I was told. And every week her mom would walk to the grocery store to get a cardboard box to put her in as a baby. To one of the most inspirational men I've ever come across in my life, to be able to sit with and talk to and learn from and watch and dissect and try to figure out what he did and how he did it. And you know what he did? It was passion, it was heart, it was hustle, it was follow through, not being lazy, big picture thinking, and adjusting when he failed. And all those things are all part of what we're doing here at Born Broke Live. So again, I'm kind of diverting, but it's big picture thinking. I don't have anything more to say. I think you gave us some great gold.
No, I think, yeah.
I'm glad you gave us one more thing. I know I give you a hard time.
No.
Oh, you're the one more thing guy.
Sure,
but that one more thing, that really touched me.
Well, look, I mean, I think we talked about this offline, but Lee Katz, your uncle, looked at me one day, and I don't know where we were, but he goes, you know, Mike Hofarth, you stay close to him. He's going places. You stay close to him. That's what he said to me. And I was like, I knew what he was talking about because I already knew who you were. And this was after college. And I think it was some reunion at Pepperdine or whatnot. And when he said that, I was like, and I listened. And it wasn't because we were obviously really good friends, but I just always stayed close to you. And we worked on a bunch of different, various projects that we've worked on together. And here we are, you know? So, thanks, Lee, for that advice.
You know, and with that story, you know, I'll tell you this. I got one more thing.
Go ahead.
My one more thing is this. One more thing is this. And we might touch. We're gonna have to bring this into an episode. With big picture thinking, and success, and drive, and heart and hustle, one of the things that could kill everything is ego. You have to put your ego or any ego that you may have aside, right?
Check it out the door.
You have to check your ego. Ego can destroy a person. It can destroy friendships. It can destroy so much. So watch and be careful of an ego. Ego can be very detrimental to things you're trying to achieve. I always say kill people with kindness, right? Kill them with kindness. Don't burn a bridge. You know, you have to go through life treating people like you want to be treated, even in the roughest times, right? It's hard to do all the time. I tell youngsters that work for me, kill people with kindness. Remember that. Remember that in your everyday life, right? Kill people with kindness. It comes back tenfold, and it comes back tenfold throughout the decades you live, right? I can't tell you how many friends, how many relationships, how many like business colleagues I have that come back and have been in my life for 30 plus years, right? Because I've treated them nice. I've treated them with respect, you know, and that's all part of the big picture thinking. Think big picture. Don't think about today and telling somebody off. That could come back to bite you in the ass. I know sometimes you want to do it, and sometimes you're not going to be able to help it, and you're going to do it. But try as much as possible to remember the big picture aspect of it and work toward that. You know, and with that, hey, I'm having a good time here. This was a good episode. We thought it wouldn't be, but it was.
Yeah, I wasn't really excited about big picture thinking because I had no idea what Mike was thinking about, but this is a good episode. Good. Yeah. We're good. Everybody, thanks for watching Born Broke with Mike Hofarth, and that's a wrap.